Imagine your home is built over a fire that never stops raging. Underground blazes that burn at up to 700 degrees centigrade, opening up sinkholes big enough to swallow people and houses. Living with coal fires that burn beneath their homes is a frightening reality for thousands of people in East India.
God has wished us to live and die in this hell.
Even in the heart of America, underground fires have destroyed entire towns.
Slowly, bit by bit, piece by piece, everything I knew and was used to and familiar with was slowly taken away.
Across the world, thousands of coal fires are raging. They poison our air and may be one of the major causes of global warming. Coal fires worldwide may release as much carbon dioxide as 50 million cars. Controlling these fires is crucial, but once started, they are almost impossible to extinguish. How do we stop this underground inferno? This is a ceremonial welcome to bless a newborn child. These blessings, it is believed, will protect the baby from all manner of evil. But destiny has other plans. Outside his home is a wasteland. Over 500,000 people could be threatened by a similar fate. The baby's home is full of toxic fumes. These cracks threaten to consume his house. His village, and eventually his town. Only 20 meters below places right next to Jharia town, coal mine fires are burning at up to 700 degrees centigrade. This entire village is perched on top of a virtual volcano that could at any time spew fire and brimstone. Most residents have left, but some are waiting until the very last moment.
This village was home to more than 3,000 families. Most of them were forced to leave. Now only 50 families live here. This village is surrounded by fire from all sides.
Asha Devi is a mother of 4. Half her house has already collapsed.
किसका हो गई ना कुछ डर लगती आ डरे लगते तो कुछ क्या करती आ क्या कर रहे.
Is there any point in getting scared? God has wished us to live and die in this hell.
She has shifted her entire family to an adjoining room. Whatever remains of her house may collapse at any moment, but she has no plans to move. For the residents of this village and for over 500 settlements in Jharia coalfields, this is the living hell they must all endure. "13,000 kilometers away, in the United States, in the heart of Pennsylvania, is Centralia town. John Lokaitis lives here. His family of coal miners has lived in Centralia for 4 generations.
Over here is my great-grandparents, their wedding photo set from 1910, George and Julia Lokaitis. And this is a photo of my grandparents, George and Catherine Lokaitis, me and my grandfather. There's a photo here of my uncle and my father with my grandfather, and then of my mom and dad as well. Coal is basically in my blood, and I still, this is actually a coal stove from the 1940s, and this is how I heat the house. So we've been involved with anthracite for a long, long time.
An accountant for the Pennsylvania State Police, John travels around 200 kilometers every day to work because today, Centralia doesn't have a job for him. This was not always the case. Until the mid-1980s, Centralia was a thriving coal mining town of 1,100 people. It was a tight-knit community.
If you were on this street, it would have been filled with houses. Most of them were duplexes and were what they call half-a-doubles, and they came all the way out to the alley here. And then as well on this side of the street, the houses went all the way back to the western edge of town. Pretty much anything any other town would have had. We had several churches, gas stations, businesses, and now we're down to 11 people and no businesses.
In 1962, an underground coal mine in Centralia caught fire. Within a few years, smoke began to escape from fissures in the ground. John was born in 1970. He's grown up inhaling toxic fumes all his life.
This area was entirely green, tree-covered, and over time, gradually, the fire moved into this area. The fire here was so close to the surface that it actually did catch a lot of the trees on fire and started brush fires in this area.
Centralia began to sink. The local highway cracked and collapsed. Trees were bleached white and died as the fire continued to rage.
My house is located about 2 blocks down there, a large white building behind the trees, and I'm probably about the closest resident to the mine fire currently.
With only 10 residents, including John, Centralia today is a ghost town. The world's largest coal reserves are in the USA. The nation also has hundreds of mine fires extending from Alaska to Alabama. Pennsylvania is the worst afflicted state with 38 fires. The countdown for Centralia started when garbage was being burnt near an abandoned mine. That fire spread to the coal mine. But human mistakes are not the only reason for coal fires. Coal is extremely combustible and can catch fire by itself, even at temperatures as low as 30 degrees centigrade. Scientists call it spontaneous combustion. When exposed to air, coal starts to release heat. When the heat reaches burning point, the coal dust catches fire. Underground fires can burn for years, even decades, without showing any signs of their existence on the surface. Eventually, the ground above the fire subsides, taking everything with it. homes, vegetation, even people. Worldwide, millions of people are threatened by this underground inferno wherever there are coal mines. In Australia, South Africa, the USA, Russia, China, and India. How can they be saved? These firefighters find themselves in a tricky situation. They are trying to understand and control a fire they cannot see. Raju is a remote sensing expert. He measures the position of an underground coal fire using a handheld global positioning system. It receives signals from satellites. Raju compares past and present positions of the fire to determine how far it has spread. Raju has been tracking this fire for over a year. During this time, the fire has advanced towards the village by at least 20 meters. Raju measures the movement of fire, while geologist V.K. Singh measures its intensity with a thermal gun. It's a digital thermometer that records temperatures from a distance. The surface temperature here is around 60 degrees centigrade. Only a few meters below the surface, the temperature is more than 300 degrees centigrade. The firefighters are worried because the fire is spreading. It needs to be controlled and fast, or else this village will disappear. Many other villages face a similar fate. Jharia coalfield in East India is spread over 450 square kilometers. That's almost 3 times the size of Washington, D.C. Although coal has been mined in Jharia for over 100 years, it still retains 3/4 of its more than 19 billion ton coal reserves. Most of it is coking coal, which is used to make steel. Mining still brings in good money. And where there is work, people are bound to come. Today, despite the danger, Jharia coalfield houses more than 1 million people. That's 2,000 people per square kilometer. It's one of the most densely populated coalfields in the world. Jharia's first coal mine fire was detected in 1916 here at Powda. This fire is still burning. Locals say it began as a result of illicit liquor distillation taking place in abandoned mines. Bootleggers used to leave fires without extinguishing them. One such fire sealed Jharia's fate forever. Today, fires are approaching Jharia town from all sides. A disaster is waiting to happen. 1 kilometer northwest of Jharia town, this school is facing the wrath of the underground fire. The fate of 1,700 children hangs precariously in the balance. The school building has started to tilt. Fires are burning, just across the road. Less than 1 kilometer north of Jharia town is one of the region's oldest colleges. 5,000 students study here. Fires have reached the boundary wall.